Modality and redundancy principles. This is mini project number 2 from my EdTech 513 class. I am John Uriarte, and this is spring 2009. Modality and redundancy principles. Objective. The objective is to instruct the viewer about modality and redundancy principles as they apply it to multimedia. After instruction, the learner will correctly identify applications of modality and redundancy principles. The modality principle. When a graphic is present, it is better to have spoken text rather than having written text. Example of modality principle. A corner kick in soccer. A corner kick is taken when the ball crosses over the end line, having last been touched by the defense. In the diagram, you can see that the blue team kicked the ball and it hit the defensive team, or the team with the red smiley faces. The defensive team last touched the ball, so the blue team will get the corner kick. Example continued. The ball is then put back into play by the offensive team, or the team with the blue smiley faces, by kicking the ball from the quarter circle located in the corner of the soccer field nearest to where the ball left the field of play. Visual overload. Using pictures and printed words can overload the visual channel. The learner is trying to take in the image and its meaning while trying to read and understand the text. Violation of the modality principle. When the defensive team kicks the ball past the end line and off the soccer field, then the offensive team gets the ball and puts it in the quarter circle closest to where the ball left the field. The quarter circle is located in the corner of the soccer field. Having an image, narration, and written text all at the same time overloads the learner's learning channels. This prevents the learner from learning. Redundancy Principle 1. When you are using an image, don't use text and identical narration at the same time. Redundancy Principle 2. Some situations call for the narration of on-screen text. Example of the redundancy principle number 1. Pitcher. Pitches the ball from the pitcher's mound to the catcher. Catcher. Crouches behind home plate and receives pitches thrown by the pitcher. In PE, the catcher stays behind the backstop until the ball is hit. They also receive throws from fielders attempting to make outs at home plate. Brain overload. The reason why we don't want to have an image, text, and identical narration all on the same slide is because the learner will overload the visual channels of the working memory. Example of the redundancy principle number 2. The redundancy principle number 2. Some situations call for the narration of on-screen text. Some examples are when there is no diagram or image, when there is plenty of time to understand the image, when the learner is not a native speaker or has a learning disability, when the narration is long and complex or has new vocabulary. Assessment number 1. Does the following slide show A. Redundancy principle number 1, B. Modality principle, C. Violation of modality principle, D. Redundancy principle number 2. The crust of the earth is composed of a great variety of igneous, this word is pronounced igneous, igneous. The next word is pronounced metamorphic, metamorphic, and the next word is pronounced sedimentary, sedimentary, rocks. The crust is the layer above the mantle. So let's take some time to look at the spelling and pronunciation of these words and where they are located on the image below. The correct answer is D, redundancy principle number 2. Assessment number 2. Does the following slide show A, redundancy principle number 1, B, modality principle, C, violation of modality principle, or D, redundancy principle number 2? Pollination. Pollination occurs when an insect, like this honeybee, goes to a flower and gets pollen on it. It then travels to another flower and transfers the pollen to the new flower. The correct answer is B, modality principle. Resources.